Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. We got the final game of this two-game series between the Baltimore Orioles and Kansas City Royals on post 1961 Appa Bats League. Leading off for the Orioles playing second base is Roberts. Batting second playing right field is Markakis. Batting third playing shortstop is Ripken. Batting fourth playing center field is Anderson. Batting fifth playing left field is Frank Robinson. Batting sixth playing first base is Powell. Batting seventh playing third base is Brooks Robinson. Batting eighth doing the catching is Hoyles. And on the mound, batting ninth is Mike Cuellar. And for the hometown Kansas City Royals, leading off playing left field is Damon. Batting second playing center field is Wilson. Batting third playing first base is Sweeney. Batting fourth doing the catching is Perez. Batting fifth playing right field is Cowens. Batting sixth playing shortstop is Washington. Batting seventh playing third base is Brett. Batting eighth playing second base is White. Batting ninth and doing the pitching is Appier. Let's get down here to Kansas City, get this game going. Let's see here. Alrighty. Excuse me. Leading off for the Orioles is Brian Roberts batting .217, no homers and 1 RBI. Kevin Appier making his second start. He's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA. And Parallel Universe stops by here today. Oh, pretty cool. Not a problem, bud. Glad you stopped by. And here, let's take a look at the 3 and 4 Orioles. And they are now 4 games back of the Yankees. Ripken off to a slow start, 179 average. Frank Robinson, 192. Brooks, 240. Brian Roberts, 217, like we just talked about. Anderson off to a good start, batting .318. Palmer with a 2.25 ERA. Dave McNally with a 4.15. Stone and Messina both with 2.57. And Mike Cuellar comes into the game with a 6 ERA. See if he can do better than that now. And here's the first pitch to Brian Roberts. And he gets a hold of this one, folks. And that ball is going to be 16. That ball is going to be hit in the left field. That's going to be in there for a double. Brian Roberts starts this game off with a leadoff double for the Orioles. And right away, the Orioles got a runner in scoring position. With nobody out, Nick Markakis comes to the plate. And Nick is batting .190 with a homer and 2 RBIs. And that's going to be a fly ball out the left field. Damon makes the catch out there. And I don't think the batter's going to tag. 24-3. He's going to stay put. And we got one down now. Let's check one thing here. Give me a second here, folks. Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Alrighty, now back to the game. As Ripken is now up, and Cal batting .179 with no homers and 1 RBI. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Kevin strikes out Ripken, and now there's 2 outs and a runner still down at second, folks. Hasn't moved. So it's going to take a 2-out hit for Brady Anderson here. And Anderson's batting .318 with no homers and 2 RBI. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Kevin Appier starts the game off with a double by Roberts, but pitches around it. We get to the bottom of the first. It's Baltimore nothing. And Kansas City coming to the plate. You got Damon, Wilson, and Sweeney due up. Johnny batting 129, no homers and 2 RBIs. And Mike Cuellar making his second appearance. He's 0-1 with a 6 ERA. And the Kansas City Royals are 4-3. And they're only a game back of the Tigers. Wilson batting 344. Johnny Damon, like we say, batting a $129. Brett batting 240. Al Callens 312. And Mike Sweeney 314. Zach Greinke, look at that 0.6 ERA, folks. Saberhagen with a 5.68. Mike Gubazal, no ERA yet. Larry with a 1.25, and Appier entered this game with a 1.5 ERA. And now the pitch to Johnny Damon. And that's going to be against the lefty. 14 and an 8. Yep. And that's going to be a fly ball out the left field. Frank Robinson calls for it, makes the catch for out number 1. As Cleveland baseball fan joins us, Tim, check out his great channel. And Willie Wilson off to a great start this year, batting 344 with no homers and 2 RBI. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brooks. He fires over to Powell for out number 2. And Mike Sweeney comes to the plate now. I don't know why we don't have no sound. And Sweeney is batting 214 with no homers and 3 RBI. And that's going to be a 13. And that is going to be a fly ball out to Anderson in center. And 1, 2, 3 goes the Kansas City Royals. To the top of the second we go. In a nothing game. You got Robinson, Powell, and Robinson, Frank, Boog, and Brooks. And Legend Sports Universe joins us here. Check out his great channel, folks. And Frank batting a $192 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. And that's going to be a base hit the other way in the right field. Al Callens gets over, holds him to a single. And you see the team comparisons. Baltimore off to a 3-4 start, batting 245 with an on-base percentage of .315, slugging .474, and an OPS of .789. KC's 4-3, batting .219, a .260 on-base percentage, slugging .446, and an OPS of .706. Boog Powell batting .286 on the year now, with the leadoff batter aboard, with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Kevin Appier with his 3rd strikeout of the game, folks. 1 down here. That brings up the other Robinson boy, Brooks, batting .240 with a homer and 1 RBI. And that's going to be a fly ball out the left field. Damon tracks it down for out number 2. So again, the Orioles got a runner on and haven't been able to move him. Chris Hoyles comes to the plate, only hitting .053, a homer and 1 RBI. And that's going to be against the righty. 20, and that's going to be a infield hit. Chris Hoyles shows off the legs, beats that throw down the first. And at the worst, that gets Cuellar out of the way, and he won't lead off the top of the 3rd. So you got first and second, Robinson down at second, Chris at first, and Mike looking for his first hit of the year. He's 0 for 2. And that's going to be a ground ball back to the mound. Kevin up with it, tosses it over to Sweeney at first for out number 3. The Orioles strand 2. To the bottom of the second we go. I don't understand why there's no sound. Don't understand no sound. And we got Perez due up, followed by Callens and Washington. Perez batting .250 with a homer and 3 RBIs. And that's going to be a ground ball back to Mike. He tosses it over to Boog. And that's out number one. And you see Kansas City, they're going to stay home here after this game. And the Twins are going to come to town for 3 games. And then Toronto Blue Jays for 2 more. Yeah, I was watching that, Legends. That's what happens when you're live. Yep, can't hide the mistakes, can you? Nothing wrong with it. Happens to the best of us, bud. Yep. And Al Callen's batting 312 with no homers and 1 RBI. And that ball is high. How far is this one going to go, folks? And kiss it goodbye. Al Callens puts the Kansas City Royals on the board. It's 1-0 KC. Al Callen's first homer of the year. I wish we could get the sound working here. What's going on here? Let's do this. We'll do this, see if this works. Just shut the whole thing down here and reboot it. Let's reboot this whole game and see if this will help. See if the sound will come on now. Is that what coughing fit? That's what did you in? Cool. You just didn't want me to hear about how the Yankees were losing. You did me a favor, actually. Look at it that way, Legends. Yeah. And now let's see if the sound's going to work. Washington's up. He's batting 278, no homers and no RBIs. KC up by 1. And that's going to be against the lefty. 10 against the 10. And that's going to be a base hit in the center field. Washington's aboard here, and Mike Cuellar is having trouble here in the bottom of the second. 1 out and 1 on. And now we got the sound up back. And George Brett's up now. And Washington, is he going to stay put down there at first? That'll be a 26. 26 or that'll be a 52. He's going to take off. Washington's going to try to get in scoring position. And he's in there safely with the stolen base. And Ken Castro would be proud of me, trying to get more aggressive on the bases. Yeah, darn lefty. What was that? Was that his 24th win, Legends? That is awesome. 24-0. That's the problem. You get in the playoffs, he wins 3 out of the 7 games. You only got to luck into 1. 24 and a half. Crazy. Crazy, man. That is awesome, man. Completely awesome. Might be one of the few times where I actually believe that the pitcher should get the MVP award. I'm big on not giving a pitcher the MVP since they can get the Cy Young, but man, if he goes the whole year undefeated, he deserves everything. Yeah, they put a dent in the armor, but they're going to need a Guidry or Whitey Ford to match him, though. That's the problem. That is the problem. Hopefully they can. Yeah. So now you got Brett up with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. George batting 240 with no homers and 4 RBI. Yeah, already has the win record. Exactly. That's awesome, right? That is awesome. Has he had any no decisions? Or has he won every start? And here's the pitch to Brett. And that's going to be a ground ball. Might be. That might be a pump up down the third. Yep, that's a pump up down the third. 3 no decisions. And Brooks Robson makes the catch. Now there's 2 down. Washington still at second. And here's Frank White up now. And Frank is batting 167. No homers and an RBI. Yeah, I seen that. They almost got it over the 2 mark. Ain't that terrible? An ERA of 1.92 after 1 game. Ain't that terrible? And that's going to be against the lefty, 13 and a 8. And that is going to be a fly ball out the center field. Anderson comes in, makes the catch, but the solo homer makes it 1-0 Kansas City. And now you got the top of the order due up here for the Orioles. Roberts, Markakis, and Ripken. Orioles down by 1 here in the top of the 3rd. Brian doubled and got stranded at second his first time up. And that's going to be a base on balls. Brian trots on down to first. See if the Orioles can get him across the plate this time. And Nick Markakis is up. They're going to do a little hit and run here. Try to get Nick Markakis bat hot here. He's only batting $182. He's 0 for 1 today. And that's going to probably save him from hitting into a double play. That is hit down the second. And that'll get the runner down the second on a 4-3 put out. Hit and run, save the double play. So now you got Brian down at second again with 1 out for Cal Ripken. Ripken struck out his first time up. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. Nope, that's going to be a line drive down the short. And Brian gets back. He's safe. They don't get the double play. Now you got Brady up. And Brady's struck out. He's 0 for 1. Again, Brian's still down at second. And that's going to be against the righty at 18. And that's going to be a ground ball. Nope, that's going to be a fly ball out to center field. Wilson makes the catch. And Brian Roberts again gets stranded at second. As Yogi would say, this is deja vu all over again. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's 1-0 KC. You got Appier due up, and then we go to the top of the order in Damon and Wilson. And Kevin is 0 for 1 on the year. And that's going to be a ground ball down the boog. He calls off Mike, takes it himself for out number 1. And now you got Johnny Damon up. He's 0 for 1, flew out his first time up. And that's going to be another fly ball. This one out to Markakis in right field. So he's hit 1 to each corner. And both times it's an out. That brings up Willie Wilson. And he is 0 for 1. He grounded out back in the first. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Mike strikes him out in 1, 2, 3, third. To the top of the 4th we go. We got the Robinson boys due up this inning, and in between them was going to be Boog Powell. So Frank, Powell, and Brooks. Frank singled back in the second. He's 1 for 1, and he's doing more than that this time. That ball is high. How far is this one going to go? Kiss it goodbye. Frank Robinson with his 3rd homer of the year ties this ball game up, folks. It's 1 apiece. Watches that fly out, shakes his head. Now he's going to have to regroup with old Boog Powell up. Powell's 0 for 1. He struck out back in the second. And that's a base on balls. And all of a sudden, Appier's a little shaky here in the 4th. And the other Robinson boy, Brooks, is now up. And Brooks flew out to Damon back in the second. Here's the pitch to Brooks. And that's going to be against the righty at 19. And that is going to be a base hit, and Brooks Robinson with a infield hit, folks. Showing off the Jets. So now you got first and second, still nobody out. Chris Hoyles is up. Kansas City looking for that double play ball in a worse way. Chris is 1 for 1. He singled back in the second. And that's going to be a base on balls. Kevin Appier, the wheels have fallen off the cart here in the fourth. Now that's going to get the infield's going to stay back looking for the double play. Mike Cuellar is up. And we're not going to squeeze here. We're going to let him hit away, and the bullpen will be getting active. Mike is 0 for 1. He grounded back to Kevin his first time up. And that's going to be a fly ball out the left field. 52 and a 3. Probably fielding column number 2. Nope, that is still fielding column number 1. Barely. So that's going to be hit out the left field. And let's see here. He doesn't have the Y, so that's going to be a 40. And Boog Powell doesn't have much speed at all. But Damon doesn't have much of an arm. So a 40 minus a 28 plus a 3. And he's going to stay put, Boog is. So that's going to be a fly ball. And that'll be out number 1. And now Brian Roberts is up. Again, they're playing back for the double play. Brian's 1 for 1. He has doubled and walked. And that's going to be a infield fly. Let's see where that's down to 23. The infield 9, 13, 16. That'll be fielding column 1. That's going to be popped up in the foul territory. Back behind first, Frank White makes the catch. And now there's 2 outs. Bases loaded, nobody out. And now there's 2 outs, and it's going to take a 2-out base hit by Nick Markakis. Can Kevin Appier get out of this with only 1 run scoring in this inning would be something. And Nick is 0 for 2. He is flown out and grounded out. And he's going to do it, folks. That's a big swing and a miss. Bases juice, nobody out. Orioles get 1 on the homer by Frank Robinson. But what it could have been. Remember this inning, folks. It's 1-1 going to the bottom of the 4th. Kevin Appier gets out of a jam. True. We got Sweeney, Perez, and Collins due up here. See Baltimore's upcoming schedule. They stay on the road. They head over to Detroit to take on the Tigers. And then after a 3-game series with the Tigers, they go home to take on the White Sox. Mike is 0 for 1 today. And that's going to be a ground ball down the second. That's going to be an E4 on Brian. So the leadoff batter gets aboard on there. And now Perez is up. And Salvador is 0 for 1. He grounded back to Mike his first time up. And that ball is high. How far is this one going to go? That is the question. And that ball is out of here. Perez with the homer, folks. Puts KC up 3-1. And what could have happened in the top of the inning happened here in the bottom. Kansas City's taking advantage of their opportunities. Baltimore squandering theirs. Nobody on, nobody out. 2 runs in, and Al Collins, who homered his first time up, that's the plate. That's going to be a ground ball down to Brooks. He fires over the Powell for out number 1. And UL Washington's up. He singled and stole a base back in the second. And that's going to be a ground ball back to Mike. He tosses it over to first. And after the homer, Mike has settled down and gotten the next 2 batters out. Here comes Brett. Brett popped up to his counterpart, Brooks, his first time up. He's 0 for 1. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brian. This time he doesn't muff it. Throws over the first. but the error and the homer makes it a 3-1 ball game as we go to the top of the fifth. You got Ripken, Anderson, and Robinson. 3, 4, 5 hitters due up here. Ripken is 0 for 2 today. He did line out the shortest last time up. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Washington. A lot easier play this time. Fires over and gets his counterpart out. One down here in the fifth. And Brady Anderson's 0 for 2. He's grounded out. Flown out and struck out. And that's going to be a fly ball. Willie's out there. Makes the catch for out number 2. And here's Frank Robinson. And he's 2 for 2 today, folks. He's got a single and a homer. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Washington. That'll be a 1-2-3 inning. To the bottom of the fifth we go in a 3-1 ball game. You got the bottom part of the order due up here for KC, White, Appier, and then back to the top with Johnny. Frank is 0 for 1 today. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brooks. And believe it or not, the human vacuum cleaner is going to mess this one up, folks. That's an E5. That's something you don't see every day. An error on Brooks Robinson. So Frank White's down at first. The leadoff batter aboard again. And Appier's up. And they're going to put the bunt sign down. Kevin is 0 for 1. He grounded out the first back in the third. And a 32. And let's see here. That's a bunt down the first. Powell's up with it. Only play over to first with Brian covering. That will get the runner in the scoring position now with 1 out. And Johnny, he's 0 for 2. He's flown out to each corner, left and right. And that's going to be a base on balls. And Mike getting himself in a pickle here. Willie Wilson's up. Willie is 0 for 2. He's grounded out the third and struck out. And that's going to be a first and second. That's going to be popped up down the short. Ripken out in shallow left field makes the catch for out number 2. And here comes Mike Sweeney now. Sweeney's 0 for 2. He did reach on an error and come around to score back in that fourth inning on the homer by Perez. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Cuellar gets out of the pickle with nobody scoring. We go to the top of the sixth and a 3-1 Kansas City lead. You got Powell, Robinson, and Chris Hoyle is due up. Powell is 0 for 1. He did walk back in the fourth and struck out, so he is yet to put the ball in play. And he solves that problem, folks. He squares this one up against Kevin. Where is it going to land in KC? And it's going to be off the wall out there in right field. He turned on that one. He's got a leadoff double. So now the tying run comes to the plate, and Brooks Robinson with nobody out. A runner in scoring position for Brooks. He singled back in the fourth. 1 for 2. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Wilson. That'll be out number 1. Now you got Chris Hoyle is up. And Chris, he's walked and singled. 1 for 1 today. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. He's going to look the runner back to second. Fire over to first for out number 2. So again, 2 outs and a runner down at second. Oh, here's the decision. Do we take Mike out of the game? I say we let him pitch. He's only given up 3 hits. The problem is 2 of those hits are homers. Here's the pitch to Mike. And he gets a hold of this one. Folks, we probably should have took him out of the game. Let's see what happens with this one. Against the righty, 15. And that is going to be a ground ball down the short. Washington, nice dive and stop. Gets up, fires over to first, and robs Mike of a base hit, folks. And the Orioles strand one. We go to the bottom of the sixth. It's 3-1 Kansas City. You got Perez, Collins, and Washington due up here. And Perez is 1 for 2. He homered back in the fourth, a 2-run shot. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Brian for out number 1. Now Collins comes up 1 for 2 with a solo shot of his own. And that's going to be a ground ball back to Mike. He fires over the first to Powell, and quickly 2 outs here in the sixth. And UL's up now. And he's 1 for 2 with a stolen base today. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Frank, a 1-2-3 inning. To the top of the seventh we go. And the top of the order due up here for Baltimore. Time for them to try to make some hay here. Ryan's 1 for 2 with a double. Here's the pitch to him. And KC will get the bullpen up. They won't mess around here with a 2-run lead. And they better not, because that ball is high. That ball is far. And that ball is gone, folks. Brian Roberts with a leadoff homer makes it a 3-2 ball game. Two lefties coming up here. And who they got in the bullpen is a lefty. They got one guy out there. Old Steve's a lefty. And I think it's time to bring him in. And that's going to be it for Kevin Appier. So he can't lose the game, but he can't make it through the seventh inning. And they're not going to do a double switch. They're just going to want Steve to get through this seventh inning here. So no double switch. So Kevin comes out. Steve's going to come in, pitch to the lefty, then a righty, and then another lefty. Don't want to take Washington in the defense. This is a year. He has a save, but he's got a 7.71 ERA. But early in the year, that's just one bad outing. And he's got Nick Markakis and then Ripken and Anderson due up here. Nobody out. 1 run already in. Nobody on. And here's the pitch to Nick, who's 0 for 3. And that's going to be a base on ball. It's not what Kansas City wants. That brings the go-ahead run to the plate, and Kyle Ripken tying run down at first. And still nobody out. Ripken is 0 for 3. He did have a nice shot down the short back in the third. Washington grabbed it and took a hit away from him. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. And they're going to get Nick out at second on the 6-4 putout. Now you got Ripken down at first, 1 out, and Brady Anderson up. Brady's 0 for 3. He has struck out and flown out to center both times. And that's going to be another fly ball. He might want to hit it somewhere else besides center field to his counterpart, because Wilson's got his number and makes the catch. Now there's 2 down and a runner down at first. And Frank Robinson, who's having a hell of a game. He's 2 for 3 with a solo homer in this game. And that's going to be against the lefty, a 23 and an 8. And that is going to be a ground ball down, back to the mound. Steve's up with it, fires over to Sweeney. But the solo homer by Brian Roberts cuts the lead to 1 as we make it to the 7th inning stretch. We'll have the bottom third of the order due up here for KC. Brett White, and a pitch hitter for the pitcher, Steve. You see the team comparisons there. Baltimore scored 27 runs on 14 homers, and no stolen bases or caught stealing. KC with 26 runs, 8 homers. And here's the big difference. 10 stolen bases and been caught twice. And Brett's 0 for 2 today. He has popped up the third and grounded out. And that's a base on balls. And Baltimore's got to keep this a one-run game here, folks. That brings up Frank White. White is 0 for 2. He did reach on an error back in the fifth, an error off of Brooksy. And that ball is well hit. Let's see where that's going to land at. That's going to be a double down the first baseline. And let's see if Brett can score. Nick Markakis has got a cannon out there for an arm. That'll be a 42, nobody out. 42 minus a 37 plus a 17, a 22 and nobody out. I say they're going to hold him at third. Second and third, not taking a chance. That'll force the Orioles to bring the infield in. We'll have a pitch hitter for Steve. And they like to get Mike through this inning. I think he's due up fourth. I believe he's due up fourth. Let's see. Yeah, he's due up fourth. Sure. So now let's see who's going to come off the bench here. And I believe old George is coming off the bench. Sawyer trying to add to this 3-2 lead. So the righty's going to come off the bench. Where is he at? There he is. And George is batting 1,000. He's got one hit, one plate appearance, and it was a homer, folks. So they can't mess around with him. Infield in, second and third. Here's the pitch from Mike. And that's going to be a ground ball. Might not be a ground ball. A 61 and a 9. Probably going to be fielding column 1. Nope, that's barely column 2. And that's going to be out at first. The runners are going to hold as Brian fires over to first for out number 1. So now there's 1 down, still second and third. Johnny Damon up. Again, they're going to have to keep the infield in. Johnny is 0 for 2. He's flown out the left, right, and walked. And we drop one of the dice. And that's going to be a 35 against the lefty of 9, and a 14. And that's going to be a fly ball out the right field. And they're going to take a chance here, I believe, against Nick. 23. And that's going to be a 44. Let's see here. 44 minus a 37 plus a 17. So both runners are going to tag up. 24. That'll be a 46 or lower. He makes it and adds to a 3-2 lead here. Here's the play at the plate. And what did I say it was? 24. So 46, and he's in there safely. So both runners tag up. And it's now a 2-run ball game, folks. Now you got a runner down at third and 2 outs. Johnny Damon gets the job done. And now you got Wilson up. He's 0 for 3, grounded out, struck out, and popped up. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Mike strikes him out, but they score 1 run. And it's a 4-2 ball game as we go to the top of the 8th. See who's going to come out of the bullpen here. And who they got up here? You got Powell and then 2 righties. Let's see here. Who do they want to bring in? Do they want to bring in Davis for a 2-inning save? Or do they want to bring in Quisenberry just to get through this 8th inning? That is the question. So they're going to bring Quisenberry in. That's what they're going to do, and have Davis pitch the 9th. So Quisenberry will come in and pitch the 8th inning. And then Wade will come in and pitch the 9th if they still got the lead. So here comes Quisenberry in the game. And he'll be facing Powell. Brooks Robinson and Chris Hoyle is here. And the top of the 8th in a 2-run ball game. And Powell is 1 for 2. He is doubled in this game. Here's the pitch to Boog. And that's going to be a ground ball back to Quisenberry. He fires over the first. Out number 1. And Brooks Robinson comes to the plate. And Brooks, he's 1 for 3 today. And that's going to be against the righty. That's going to be a fly ball out the right field. Al Callens makes the catch. And there's 2 down. So it's up to Chris Hoyles to get something started here. Hoyles is 1 for 2. He is singled back in the 2nd. And that's going to be a ground ball down the short. A 62 and a 9. Let's see here. That is going to be fielding column 2. And that's going to be an error on UL. We kept him in the game for his defense, and he screws the pooch, folks. Chris Hoyles is on now. We'll have a pitch hitter here for Mike. And the tying run comes to the plate. And Eddie Murray's probably going to come off the bench, and that's who it's going to be. Eddie Murray comes off the bench here with the tying run at the plate. Can Murray get the job done against Quisenberry here? And Murray is batting .667 on the year, folks. He is 4 for 6 with a homer and 3 RBIs. Here's the pitch to Eddie. And that ball is well hit. Here we go. And that ball is driven into the gap in right field. And with 2 outs, is Chris Hoyle is going to be able to score. I know they're going to send him, but Al Callens got a howitzer out there, a 38 arm. Chris only a 30 on an 8 speed. That's going to be a 22. They gotta send him here. 22. That'll be a 44 or lower. He's safe. And he's in there. An RBI double by Eddie Murray. And now the tying runs down at second. And I think that's going to be it for Quisenberry. And Wade Davis is going to come in here and try to get a 4. Chris didn't score. He's supposed to score. Give me a second here. That's going to be it for Quisenberry. He can't get the job done in that error. Costly error by Washington. We didn't do the double switch because of it for his defense, and it comes to bite him in the butt. So that's going to be it for Quisenberry. And Wade's going to come in the game and try to hold this 1-run lead now. Now you got the lefties coming up, the switch hitters here. So, in comes Mr. Wade. Wade Davis comes in, and this is his 2nd appearance of the year. And he's got a lofty 27 ERA, folks. No record. So we got a runner down at second. 2 outs. Brian Roberts having a fine game. He is 2 for 3. He has a double and a homer in this game. And Brian tied up. It's 4-3. A runner down at second. And that's going to be a base on balls. So Brian's down at first, and I'm looking down there. That's the tying run, ain't it? Let's see if we got a pitcher with some decent speed we could use. Jim Palmer is going to come off the bench and run for Eddie Murray. That's what we're going to do. Palmer is going to come off the bench and pitch run for Eddie. So here comes Palmer off the bench with his great speed. So we'll do that. So Palmer down there, first and second, and Nick Markakis up. Wade Davis on the mound. Nick is 0 for 3. He did walk in the 7th. Here's the pitch to Nick. And that's going to be a fly ball out to Wilson. That'll be out number 3. But the Orioles score 1, cut the lead to 4-3. We go to the bottom of the 8th. So he's going to come out here and pitch for the Orioles. You got the righties due up. O'Day. Oh, everybody that knows me. I like them submarine pitchers, sidearm guys. So O'Day's going to come out of the bullpen. Try to keep this a 1-run game. And this is O'Day's second game. He's 0-1 with a 9 ERA. And he'll be facing Sweeney, Perez, and Collins. Let's see here. Do they want to go to the bench? And I think they are. They're going to bring John in. He's going to pitch hit for Sweeney and stay in the game for defensive purposes at first. So Mayberry's going to come in, pitch hit for Sweeney. That'll shore up the defense. And you got the lefty-righty with the sidearm guy up. So John is batting .233, .231 with a homer and 5 RBIs. And that's going to be a ground pop-up down the second. Brian calls for it near the mound. Makes the catch for out number 1. And now you got Perez up. Perez is 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. Here's the pitch from O'Day. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. And Darren strikes him out for out number 2. And Al Collins is at the plate now. He's 1 for 3 with a homer in this game. And that's going to be against a righty, 23. And that is going to be a pop-up down the second. Just like the inning started, it ends with a pop-up to Brian Roberts. And Casey goes 1, 2, 3. And we go to the top of the 9th. And like I say, John's going to stay in the game and play first. And Wade Davis is going to have to face the 3, 4, 5 hitters here in the 9th. Ripken, Anderson, and Robinson. Al Ripken is 0 for 4 today. Can he get something started here in the 9th? No, that's going to be a ground ball down the white. Frank fires over this Mayberry now in the game for out number 1. And Brady Anderson comes to the plate. He's 0 for 4. He has flown out 3 times to Wilson and struck out. Let's see if he can hit it somewhere besides center field. And yes, he does, but it's on the ground right at Frank White again. So Frank White with 2 quick plays, 2 quick outs. And it's up to Frank Robinson. The Orioles down to their last out, trailing by 1. Robinson is 2 for 4 with a single and a homer. Here's the pitch to Frank. And that's going to be a ground ball down the Brett. He takes his time, fires over to first, and that's your ball game, folks. Kansas City wins this game 4-3. and sweeps the series. Take a look here at the box score. Kansas City playing good ball here at the beginning of the year. Getting the pitching. Remember, the Orioles base is loaded. Nobody out in that fourth inning, folks. Kansas City, 4 runs on only 4 hits and 1 error. Orioles, 3 runs, doubled the hits, 8 hits, but couldn't score, and 2 errors. Wasted opportunities. Brian Roberts, 2 for 3 today. Frank Robinson, 2 for 5. Look at that. Orioles, folks, there's your ball game right there. 0 for 13. 0 for stinking 13. Frank Robinson and Roberts with homers in the game. Left 11 men on base. Got nothing to blame but themselves. Look at KC. They wasn't any better. 0 for 6. But they got the big homers by Perez and Cowens to win this game. They only left 4 men on base. Mike Cuellar, the hard luck loser, he goes to 0-2. 7 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, only 3 of them earned. Walked 2, struck out 3, and gave up 2 homers. O'Day comes in 1 inning, struck out 1. Appier gets his second win, goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, walked 3, struck out 4, and gave up 2 homers. Steve comes in, pitches 1 inning, walked 1. Quisenberry goes 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 unearned run. And Davis comes in and pitches an inning and a third with a walk and gets his first save of the year. Take a look here at the standings in the American League and the leaderboard. And the Yankees are now 3 games up on Toronto. Baltimore and Boston 4.5 games back. And Tampa Bay 5. And in the Central now, the Kansas City Royals are only a half a game back of the Tigers after the win. The Indians are 1 game back. Minnesota Twins 2 games, and the White Sox 3. And out west, the Texas Rangers lead the division by 2.5 games over everybody. Angels, Mariners, and A's. Aaron Judge now leading the American League with a .308 average. 3 batters with 5 homers. And you got Roger Maris with 13 RBIs. And right now, still got the ERA leader at 0. And now you got Kevin Appier joining the 2-win list. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers with 2 wins. And still JJ and Wetland with the 3 saves on the year. Roger Maris is leading in MVP voting. And Kevin Appier, with that win, just took over the Cy Young lead, folks. And the next game on the channel is going to be a National League game. Let's see who it'll be here. Let's see. It looks like it's going to be the Florida Marlins traveling to Philadelphia to take on Ken Castro's Phillies. Carl Pavano going up against lefty Steve Carlton. See how many game series this is. 2 games is a 3-game series. Nope, just a 2-game series. I don't believe they play on the 10th. We'll check it out, make sure. Nope, it is just a 2-game series. And neither team plays on the 10th either. Yeah, they do. So it's just a 2-game series on the 7th and 8th. So like I say, it'll be Steve Carlton going on the mound for the Phillies at home. Should be an interesting game. I want to thank Legend Sports Universe for stopping by. Like I say, check out his great channel, Cleveland Baseball Fan 879, check out his great channel. Had Parallel League. He said he had to take off. He's going to play his buddies in a game on Zoom. And I believe that was everybody, folks. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a dime. Hit that bell for reminders. And on your way out of KC, hit that like button and leave a message. Till next time, y'all take care and have a great day.